Part 101. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 1001. Chapter 1001 Spiritual Pets in Previous Lives. Although they do not expect the world to remember their contribution, who doesn't want a sincere heart to be treated well? Xianxia glanced at the bright white and moist jade bracelet she had been wearing on her wrist. It was given to her by her third senior brother. There were many treasures collected by her third senior brother in it, which were all given to her as a dowry. The jade bracelet is entwined with a dark green creeping plant, with tiny purple flowers in between, making the carving vivid. She has never taken it off since the third senior brother gave it to her. This was just a thought. Now that she returned to Langtian sect, she remembered the meeting with the 6 senior brothers in this life. The eldest brother gave her a space magic weapon, the second brother gave her magic beads, and the third brother gave her a box. By the way, I haven't seen what's inside yet. The third brother said it was something from her previous life. However, she doesn't need to look at her now. Know what it is. The fourth and sixth brothers gave her the space of her previous life, and the fifth brother gave her a glazed lamp and all the medicinal materials he planted. These medicinal materials are still growing well in the Pangu space. She also wants to move them to her previous life if she has time. Go into the space. They are all at the end of their lives, and they all choose the things that suit them best and use their last strength to save them for themselves. This kind of love and friendship is something she will never have in this life. After all, her master, Deng Chang's, is her only disciple and has no brothers. Xianxia was holding the jade bracelet, and with a thought, the box given to her by the third senior brother appeared in front of her. Xuanhuan was stunned when he saw the box, and Xianxia explained, "My third senior brother left it to me." Xuanhuan understood that Luoluo's 6 senior brothers had tried their best to leave her the most useful things, and this thing was no exception. In fact, the things that the senior brothers left to her were the magic weapons that she had given to the senior brothers. It's like a glazed lamp, which she gave to the 5th senior brother when they followed their master to seal the demon lord. Her personal space was preserved by the 4th brother and the 6th brother together. That was because her life tablet was given to the 4th brother when she went there to find the holy objects, so that he could use it to determine whether she was still alive. Therefore, the 4th senior brother and the 6th senior brother who were with him worked together to save her space after learning about her death. The box in the 3rd brother's hand was given to her by her when the brothers followed their master to seal the demon lord. The contents of the box can actually save the 3rd senior brother's life, or at least keep his soul from scattering. But the 3rd senior brother didn't use it. The fragrance fell from the box, and tears fell down. She knew that they all wanted to leave as many opportunities for her as possible. Xuanhuan sat down next to her and held her in his arms. He did not stop her from crying. It was not good for her to let her vent the sadness she had suppressed in her heart. Xianxia lay in Xuanhuan's arms and cried happily. Although no one can see them, they can see each other. This is the highest level of invisibility mysterious pattern carved by Xuanhuan pattern. Using this mysterious pattern at the same time, others cannot see them, but they can see each other. By the time Xianxia had finished crying, all the depression in her heart had dissipated. She just stood up and put away the box in her hand. This box cannot be opened now, it can only be opened when it is used again, and it is disposable, which means it can only be used once. She gave it to the 3rd senior brother, who was reluctant to use it and left it to her, so she would use it at the most critical moment. Seeing that her mood had stabilized, Xuanhuan asked, "Do you want to meet them?" Xianxia knew who Xuanhuan was talking about. They were the people who cleaned up the Langtian section. She shook her head, "They're gone, nothing significance. They are grateful to themselves in the previous life. They did not do anything for them in this life. There is no need for them to do anything to them in this life because of their kindness in the previous life. As for the Langtian sect, they can clean it if they want. It is also a mental experience for them. After all, if they can follow the wishes of their elders and clean the Langtian sect, they must be in a good mood. It's not like she came to Langtian sect in vain. Every time she comes, she will gain something. Otherwise, why would she and her senior brothers advance so fast in cultivation? It's not just because of his good talent, but also because of the Langtian sect. Yan Xianglou stood up and pulled Ji Zhong out without looking back. She could feel sad for a while, but to indulge in sadness was not allowed by herself, nor by time. Let's go directly to the entrance of the secret realm, Yan Xianglou said to Ji Zhong. After leaving the yard, she took Ji Zhong and continued walking to the mountain behind. There are no residential courtyards in the mountains behind. No one has walked there for 10,000 years and there are no roads left. However, Yan Xianglou still clearly remembers the direction to the secret realm. Go to the entrance of the secret realm accurately. There are many high-level spiritual beasts in Langtian Mountain, as well as quite powerful demonic beasts. However, demonic beasts rarely come down the mountain, but spiritual beasts often come out. The senior brothers are worried that I am in danger, so they put my yard built in the middle of them. As Yan Xianglou walked, he told Ji Zhong that Ji Zhong had no chance to come to Langtian sect in his previous life, because the Langtian sect at that time did not allow anyone other than their master and disciple to enter. Hence, this can be regarded as Ji Zhong's first visit to Langtian sect in his previous life. Did you catch your spiritual pet in the mountains in your previous life? Ji Zhong remembered that Yan Xianglou had a white fox spiritual pet in his previous life. He was a small, cute one and not weak in strength. Yan Xianglou said, it wasn't caught in the mountains. It ran down the mountain on its own and was caught by the brothers. They sent it to me to relieve my boredom. At that time, she did not have a fighting beast, nor did she want one. Therefore, the senior brothers saw that the white fox looked so cute and the little junior sister must like it, so they caught it and gave it to her. She also really liked it. Before there was no contract cloud, the loneliness when her status was getting higher and higher was all the white fox accompanying her to relieve her boredom. However, in her previous life, she terminated her contract with Baihu before her death. Although Baihu's cultivation level was somewhat lost, it was better than dying with her. After all, it was just an ordinary master-servant contract. When Baihu died, he really died. It was different from Yun Tuan, who had a soul contract with her and had to follow her for all eternity. I don't know how the white fox is doing now, whether his cultivation has become more advanced, and whether he has the strength to transform. But she knows that what the white fox wants most is to succeed in transforming. Speaking of the white fox, Xianglou looked into the depths of Langtian Mountain. I don't know where the white fox went and what's going on now. Ji Zhong comforted her and said, the white fox is very smart and will not let you down. Indeed, the white fox is indeed very smart and will live a good life. Yuan Xianglou smiled. At this moment, Yan Xianglou noticed a familiar aura, turned her head suddenly, and saw a white light rushing towards her. End of this chapter. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 1002. Chapter 1002 betrayed her. A snow-white fox appeared in front of Yan Xianglou, looking at her intently with its familiar eyes. Yan Xianglou was stunned for a moment, and then called excitedly, Xuanhuan. The snow-white fox also became excited when he heard her name. It had been 10,000 years since it had been called by its name for a long time. Xuanhuan is the name given to it by its former owner. Just now it felt a familiar soul breath, followed the breath and saw the fragrance falling. Still the same appearance, it is almost certain that this is the reincarnation of its owner. Xuanhuan walked up to her and put her chin in Yan Xianglou's hand. Yan Xianglou stretched out her other hand and stroked its head. Xuanhuan's fox eyes narrowed in comfort. Yan Xianglou calmed down after getting excited. 10,000 years have passed, Why hasn't Xuanhuan transformed yet? Xuanhuan swayed when she heard the words, and a 7 or 8-year-old little girl appeared in front of Yan Xianglue. Her face was 60–70% similar to that of Yan Xianglue, and Yan Xianglue could hardly hold back the tears in her eyes. Xuanhuan's transformation really used her appearance. But why do you look like you are 7 or 8 years old? Were you interrupted when you were transforming? Yan Xianglue asked with a frown. Xuanhuan nodded and finally spoke, Master, I almost failed to transform. If it weren't for the spirit beads that the master left for me, I would have perished. Who is it? Those who knew Yan Xianglue in her previous life knew that she was a protective person. Although she had terminated the contractual relationship with Xuanhuan, it did not mean that she would ignore it. She could bully her, but she would never allow outsiders to bully her. Cheng Kun. Xuanhuan said a person's name. Yan Xianglue didn't expect that it was Cheng Kun who almost killed Xuanhuan. What's going on? Yan Xianglue asked again. Xuanhuan said in a low tone, at that time, the master terminated the contract with me, and the master died immediately. I immediately went to the Wuming Palace for help. But Cheng Kun was the only one in the Wuming Palace, so I could only ask him for help to see if the master's soul could be restored. Not to leave. He promised me, and later told me that he tried his best and failed. I thought it was because he was not strong enough, so I told him that he was going to return to Langtian Mountain to practice. By coincidence, he happened to come to me when I was transforming. He suddenly took action at the most critical moment of my transformation. If it weren't for the spirit beads that the master left me, I would have died. Yan Xianglue's eyes paused for a moment, then she glanced at Xuanhuan. Don't worry, one day I will avenge you. No matter what, just succeed in transforming. You can practice your cultivation little by little. Xuanhuan nodded. It's great to see the master again. Master, please make a contract with me. Yan Xianglue looked at Xuanhuan and shook her head. Since I have let you go free, I have never thought of restraining you again. Didn't you say you liked Langtian Mountain very much before? From now on, you can live the life you want freely. Xuanhuan's eyes paused when she heard this. Does the master dislike me? Yan Xianglue touched Xuanhuan's head and said, what nonsense are you talking about? You can come to me even if you are not my spiritual pet. Xuanhuan immediately became happy when she heard this. Master, Langtian Mountain has cultivated a treasure land of spiritual energy for thousands of years. Master can go there to practice. It will definitely get twice the result with half the effort and restore the strength of the previous life as soon as possible. Yan Xianglue's gaze paused, and she raised the corners of her lips. I want to go into the secret realm to practice first, and when I come out, I will go there. Do you live there? Xuanhuan nodded. I live very close to there. If the master goes there, I can feel it immediately. Okay, you tell me where to wait for me to come out of the secret realm and I will look for you, Yan Xianglue said without any hesitation. Xuanhuan immediately told Yan Xianglue the location, and Yan Xianglue waved her hand. Go back quickly and pay attention to safety. I sensed that there are many more spiritual beasts and monsters with high cultivation levels in the mountains. Xuanhuan nodded and said, I'll wait until the master enters the secret realm before leaving. Yan Xianglue smiled, took Xuanhuan's hand and disappeared from the entrance to the secret realm. Just after the two of them disappeared, the expression on the well-behaved little girl's face suddenly became very complicated, and the 7 or 8-year-old girl instantly turned into a 17 or 18-year-old. After a while, Xuanhuan snapped her fingers, and a small bird appeared in front of her. It was very similar to Xuanhuan's uninhibited bird, but it was not the same kind, and its speed was not as fast as uninhibited bird. Go and tell Cheng Kun that Yu Xianglue has entered the secret realm. The secret realm has a time limit. She will come out in a month. After she comes out, she will go to the place I mentioned and let him prepare. The bird chirped and fluttered its wings and flew away. Xuanhuan looked at the entrance of the secret realm again. turned into a white fox and left. Just after it left, the figures of Yan Xianglou and Ji Zhozhong appeared at the entrance to the secret realm. A touch of lost sadness flashed through Yan Xiang's apricot eyes. Why? Why did Xuer betray her? Obviously, I have done everything I can for it, and I have thought about it even when it encountered a crisis when it transformed into a human being. I was so seriously injured at that time, and the injury worsened after I terminated the contract with it, so that I couldn't do anything when I fell. Isn't such sincere treatment worthy of being cherished by it? Ji Zhozhong patted her on the shoulder. People are not familiar with raising animals, let alone animals, otherwise they would not be bound by contracts. There is no need to be sad for it, and not all animals are like it. Yan Xianglou took a deep breath and said, "Let's go to the place mentioned and see what Changkun wants to do." Yan Xianglou was too familiar with Xuer. After all, she was her spiritual pet in the previous life. Even after the transformation was successful, after thousands of years, she could tell at a glance that something was wrong with Xuer. There is a difference between seeing her really happy and excited and pretending to be so. What's more, she has the ability to read minds. Now she can use the ability to read minds anytime and anywhere, very easily. Therefore, when she saw Xuer appearing, she felt something was wrong, so she used her mind-reading skills on Xuer, so she knew exactly what Xuer was thinking. However, even if she knew that Xuer had changed, Yan Xianglou never thought that Xuer would betray her. After all, Xuer's life is equivalent to being given by her. The fact that it can transform into success is definitely because of the spirit beads that she gave it. But it actually betrayed itself for that scumbag Changkun. A spiritual beast actually fell in love with a human monk. How could it be so confident that Changkun would like a spiritual beast? Yan Xianglou can already predict Xuer's ending. However, there is a bit of true love in myself when I see it, but it is only that little bit, nothing more. When Xuer prayed for him to contract with her, Yan Xianglou's powerful spiritual consciousness clearly sensed her worries, worrying that she would actually contract with her again and lose her freedom. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 1003. Chapter 1003 died because of him. Ji Zhozhong thought more. After all, since Xuer betrayed Yan Xianglou, how could she be willing to take on her appearance? However, they were not very similar, only 67 points similar. If it is impossible for her to be very similar, Ji Zhozhong doesn't believe it, then there is only one reason, that is, she doesn't want to look like Yan Xianglou, but she has to look like her. Therefore, there are only 6 or 7 very similar, this is her own resistance. What is the reason that allows it to make such a decision? It must be Changkun. Ji Zhozhong narrowed his eyes. He really didn't expect Changkun to have such thoughts. The two of them soon arrived at the place Xuer mentioned. Yan Xianglou is very familiar with Langtian Mountain. This place is indeed different from 10,000 years ago. The spiritual energy here is indeed very rich. It is the place with the strongest spiritual energy in the entire Langtian Mountain. Xuer didn't lie about this, but what did they want to do by deceiving themselves here? Ji Zhozhong walked around the place where the spiritual energy was strong, and asked, "Luoluo, something is wrong here. The spiritual energy is so strong, why isn't there a spiritual beast cultivating nearby?" Ji Zhozhong's words reminded Yan Xianglou of what his master once told him and his brothers. Could that place be here? Yan Xianglou immediately understood what Changkun wanted to do. "Let's go practice first and ignore this place," Yan Xianglou said to Ji Zhozhong. Ji Zhozhong understood that she knew something was strange here. The two of them returned to the entrance of the secret realm, and this time they really went in. The secret realm of Langtian Mountain is not big, but it is full of dangers. As long as you can stay there for a month, your cultivation level will increase dramatically. Yan Xianglou did not rush to start training, but told Jizhong that the lotus flower was the lotus platform of the ancient god. Jizhong had already guessed that the lotus flower was a lotus platform after being prompted by Yan Xianglou. He also guessed that only the ancient gods had such strength and powerful lotus platform. But he didn't expect that this lotus platform actually came from the body of the same ancient as Xuanhuan. However, this also shows that not all the ancient gods have such a hobby, but only this great has it. Yan Xianglou told Jizhong about the weirdness of the spiritual place on Langtian Mountain. When her master, Saint Fenyuan, chose to build a sect here, he naturally investigated the entire Langtian Mountain very carefully. Langtian Mountain is an outstanding place, but the only flaw is that a cold aura leaks out. This aura does not leak out in one place but keeps changing locations. Master once told her and her senior brothers that if one day a place with the strongest spiritual energy appears in Langtian Mountain, that force must be strong enough to destroy the spiritual energy of Langtian Mountain. Then, Langtian Mountain will no longer be suitable for monks to practice. Even the spiritual beasts and demonic beasts here, if they do not leave, their cultivation is likely to stagnate. In serious cases, it may even affect their state of mind and cultivation. Jizhong asked, "What are Luoluo planning to do?" Yan Xianglou shook her head, "Nothing is eternal, and neither is Langtian Mountain. My biggest gain in this life is not to interfere with other people's cause and effect. Langtian Mountain's destiny will be whatever it is in the future. The Langtian sect without master and senior brothers, I won't come back, and I won't interfere like I did in my previous life." Jizhong nodded when he heard this. Luoluo has changed a lot in this life. Yan Xianglou shrugged, "I was so miserable in my last life, and I still don't have a long memory." Jizhong laughed and said, "I want to see how long Luoluo can persist with such a mentality. Don't you still want to help Hsiyun?" Yan Xianglou rolled her eyes at him, "If Zhao Jingyu doesn't take action, I won't take the initiative." "Do you think Zhao Jingyu will take action?" Jizhong choked. How could Zhao Jingyu not take action? He would even take action with the Zhao family, but they didn't dare to do it openly. That family has always been like this. Luoluo clearly controls people's hearts. And if your cheap brother takes action, I won't be polite. Jizhong's mouth twitched. He knew that the cheap brother Luoluo was talking about was not Zhao Jingyu, but Jizhun's, his cousin from his mother's clan in his previous life. In his previous life, he was disliked by his father, who even refused to give him a surname, so he took his mother's surname. Compared to Jizhun's and Zhao Jingyu, they are nothing. Jizhun's is the son of Jizhong's uncle, 1 year younger than Jizhong. Jizhong never expected that the person who gave his mother a heavy blow and caused her death was actually Jizhun's. Just because he wanted the pure blood of the Ji family in his mother, he went to sacrifice to obtain the ancient skills of the Ji family. Although his mother eventually blew herself up and died after finding out, Jizhun's was not allowed to succeed, but her mother did die because of him. In the previous life, Jizhong didn't kill him to avenge his mother because his mother left a message. Jizhun's was the only male in the Ji family, asking him to forget his hatred and leave a queen to the Ji family, as a way to help his mother repay the kindness his uncle had to her mother. Pamper and care for. In this life, if Jizhun's doesn't provoke him, he can pretend that he never knows him. However, based on his understanding of Jizhun's, he knew that he would never give up when he was reborn, so he would have to face him sooner or later. It's just that he didn't have time to inquire about the Ji family, but after he arrived at Zhekongtian, he let Wuji out, and Wuji was good at inquiring about information. Jizhong also knew very well that Yan Xianglou was complaining about him, and felt warm in his heart. Yan Xianglou pointed to the front, "The secret realm experience starts there, you go first." Jizhong said, "Luoluo first." After all, this is the first time he has entered here, and Luo has entered it many times in his previous life. Hearing this, Yanxiang Luo was not polite and started practicing first. Xuanhuan followed him, and he didn't know the secret of this secret realm until he started to experience it. No wonder Luo in his previous life was so much lower than him in cultivation, but he caught up in a short time. The two of them practiced very hard in the secret realm, but the Zhekongtian continent was turned upside down because of their appearance and what they did. Jizimo and Mu Changling acted separately. Although they did not contact them for more than 10 days, they heard news about them every day. They knew that the Wuoming Palace was destroyed by Yuxiang Luo, and the mainlanders no trace of them could be found, and they lost news of the two of them. However, both of them were shocked by the identities of Yanxiang Luo and Xuanhuan. Although they knew that they had awakened the memories of their previous lives, they did not know who they were in their previous lives. What particularly surprised them was that Yanxiang Luo was actually much more famous than Xuanhuan. I didn't expect that they would cause such a big stir immediately after their reincarnation and stir up the storm in the 9 heavens. One can imagine how prosperous the two were in their previous lives. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 1004. Chapter 1004. What do you want? Now that they knew their identities in their previous lives, the two of them dug out all the information about them in their own way. In the end, the two of them were filled with emotion. The fate of these two children in their previous lives was too rough. I finally understand why they are so inaccessible in this life and have almost no friends. Now I know it was because I was afraid of being betrayed. Thinking that they still want to be a help to the two of them, but now the cultivation level of the couple has increased dramatically, and they are still only at the first level of Mahayana cultivation level. Mu Changling, in particular, wanted to build another Xianxia sect in Zhekongtian to support Yanxiang Luo, but felt that time was too short. The two of them realized at the same time that improving their cultivation level first was the most important thing. At this time, they also received news that the first training place in the mainland was about to open. Jizimo immediately contacted Mu Changling and invited him to go together so that they could take care of each other. You don't need to think about it, but you also know what you will face after entering. The two of them are in Zhekongtian continent without any power or friends. Xuanhuan and Yanxiang Luo's husband and wife do not know where they are, and they cannot contact them using the sound transmission stone. May have entered a certain training place to experience. Mu Changling agreed without hesitation. What could be more important now than to experience and improve his cultivation level? Jiziazi and Yayatu's enemies are not only powerful but also numerous. If they don't improve their strength as soon as possible, how can they help them? Therefore, on the 6th day after Yanxiang Luo and Xuanhuan entered the secret realm to practice, the first training place in the mainland opened, and Jizimo and Mu Changling went into practice together. Xuanhuan and Yanxiang Luo completely forgot about them, and even forgot to tell them before entering the secret realm. The various forces in Zhekongtian all took back their own people after searching for the two for several days. They knew very well that Zhekong and Yanxiang Luo should have entered a certain secret realm to practice. After all, they are all people with memories of past lives. In their past lives, they were all great saints, and they know very well where they can gain experience in the 9 heavens continent. At the same time, they also understood that when the two of them appeared, it would be even more difficult for them to get what they wanted from Yanxiang Luo. Hence, the various forces that originally planned to get what they wanted based on their own ability have joined forces again. Layers of traps have been laid outside each secret realm that Yanxiang Luo is likely to enter. As soon as they come out, they will inevitably fall into the trap. At that time it is time for each of them to act according to their own abilities. The only secret place without traps is the mainland's number 1 training place, and they know very well that Yanxiang Luo will not go there. Cheng Kun did not join forces with those forces. He knew the whereabouts of Yanxiang Luo, and he did not want to share the results with those people. He just can't do it alone. The strong strength of Yan Xiongluo in his previous life has left a shadow on him. Hence, he wants to find a partner. This person is Yan Xiongluo's former master uncle and the current #1 celestial master in Zhezongtian continent, Meng Hejing. Meng Hejing is the junior disciple of Saint Fengyuan, and their master only accepted them as two disciples in his life. However, Meng Hejing had evil intentions. In order to be stronger than his senior brother Fengyuan Saint, he used some underhanded means to frame his senior brother. Their master found out and expelled him from the school, but still gave him leeway and did not tell the outside world what mistakes he had made. After Meng Hejing was expelled from his master, he became the Black Sky Master by chance. From then on, he secretly opposed his senior brother. It was not until Saint Fengyuan died in order to seal the Demon Lord that Meng Hejing became prominent in Zhezongtian continent. No one knows his identity as the Black Heavenly Master. In the eyes of the Zhezongtian mainlanders, he is the supreme Heavenly Master in the mainland. He was the Heavenly Master who captured the soul of Yan Xiongluo and wanted to get the Divine Pearl. Instead, he was the Heavenly Master who took the huge white crystal ball away from him. At that time, Yan Xiongluo had no memory of her previous life, so she didn't know that he was Meng Hejing, her uncle whom she had never met. He can't be considered an uncle anymore. After all, he has been expelled from the school by his master. Sage Hejing, I came here today because of Yan Xiongluo, and I want to join forces with the Saint, Cheng Kun said directly. Because he knew very well that it was not easy for him to meet Saint Hejing because of his status, he did not want to be kicked out before things were settled, so he directly stated his purpose. Meng Hejing glanced at Cheng Kun. He knew that Cheng Kun was just a slave who betrayed his master. No one in Zhezongtian continent wants to associate with such a person. Even if he is now a great sage, he is looked down upon by powerful men of the great sage level. Why should I cooperate with you? Meng Hejing asked. Because Yan Xiongluo has something we all want, and I know where she is and how to deal with her. Cheng Kun stated his purpose and reasons directly. What do you want? Meng Hejing asked. Although he looks down on Cheng Kun, the conditions he proposed are indeed very tempting. It's not impossible to cooperate temporarily once, after all, he himself is not a good person. There is no way to take advantage of him. Cheng Kun said, I want the soul stone in her hand. I don't have the strength to own the divine pearl, but Saint Hejing is the most qualified person to possess it. Meng Hejing raised his brows and had to admit that although Cheng Kun was not a very good person, he was very good at talking and doing things. No wonder he could serve beside Yu Xiongluo. In case the divine bead is not in her hands, I won't make wedding clothes for you. Meng Hejing finally spat out, which also meant that he agreed to cooperate with Cheng Kun. Meng Hejing has thought about it a long time ago. Nowadays, there are many people on the mainland who are worried about what Yu Xiongluo is holding, but the only one who is sure that the divine pearl is in her hand is himself. But he will not admit this. He must get more benefits from cooperation, so that it is in line with his style of doing things. After all, although he is now a great sage, he has never been promoted since he broke through to the great sage level. If the Heavenly Master had not given him a facade, he would probably be nothing in the great sage level. The most important thing is that no one knows his identity as a Black Sky Master. He needs a lot of spiritual treasures to practice. This is the main reason why he has never advanced again. He needs too many spiritual treasures. Cheng Kun immediately said, I only want the soul stone. No matter how precious other things are, I don't want them. The implication is that regardless of whether the divine pearl is in Yan Xiongluo's hands or not, all she has is the soul stone, and the rest belongs to Meng Hejing. Meng Hejing knew very well that the white crystal ball was in Yu Xiongluo's hand. Not only does he want to get the divine bead, but he also wants to back the white crystal ball. As for Cheng Kun's bad character, there are ways to solve it. Before Chang Kun could be happy, Meng Hejing said again, "But if you want me to believe you, you have to make an oath." The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 1005. Chapter 1005 Without a Trace. Chang Kun knew that his credibility was very low, but he didn't feel uncomfortable because of Meng Hejing's distrust, so he readily made the oath. Only in this way can we join forces to succeed. Chang Kun didn't really just want the soul stone from Yan Xiangluo, but he knew very well that he didn't have the strength to get more. After weighing the pros and cons, what he wanted more was the soul stone, and it was easier to succeed if he wanted the soul stone. Meng Hejing has a somewhat different regard for Chang Kun. This person is obviously bad, but he also accepts everything others do to him. He will not have any impact on him just because you look down on him. His mood is not generally strong. "Now can you tell where the incense fell?" Meng Hejing said. "She is training in the secret realm of Langtian section. I have made arrangements to introduce her to a place in Langtian mountain. The rest requires Saint Hejing to take action. After all, the people in my hands are not strong enough. We must want success, otherwise there would never be a second chance to plot against her like this." He knew this, not even Meng Hejing. "Are you sure you can lure her there?" Chang Kun said, "The white fox, her spiritual pet in her previous life, is in my hands and will definitely obey my orders." Meng Hejing was a little surprised. He felt that everyone had underestimated Chang Kun, who had betrayed his master before. He could hold the spiritual pet of Ruan Xiangluo's previous life in the palm of his hand. This man did have some abilities. "Tell me more about it so I can arrange for people." Meng Hejing no longer doubted Chang Kun's news at this time. The two discussed for a long time before Chang Kun left. At this time, such a joint effort occurred among various forces in Zhekongtian continent, but other forces were not so lucky and did not know the exact whereabouts of Yan Xiangluo. Zhao Jingyu went to Xiun Palace, but he failed to achieve his goal. Saint Xiun didn't even see him. Zhao Jingyu, who was in a depressed mood, thought of one person at this time, and that was Ji Zhozhong's cousin Ji Jun's in his previous life. Although Ji Zhozhong's mother was forced into desperation by her own father and mother, the most fatal blow was given by Ji Jun's. Now that Ji Jun's knows that Ji Zhokong is back, he must be worried that he will avenge his mother. With Ji Jun's unyielding temper, he will definitely not be too arrogant. "The enemy of my enemy is my friend." Now Ji Jun's is his best partner, and if he has something belonging to Ji Zhozhong's mother, Ji Zhozhong will definitely want to take it back. Zhao Jingyu immediately went to Ji's house. The Ji family used to have Ji Zhozhong and his son to support their appearance, but it has long since declined. This is the main reason why Ji Jun's even plotted against his biological aunt. The Ji family's residence was so old that even Zhao Jingyu, who was mentally prepared, was surprised. "There are some conditions in my heart like drumming. Is Ji Jun's capable of cooperating with him?" But now he has no choice but to give it a try. After all, he could only think of Ji Jun's as the person who had such a deep hatred against Ji Zhozhong. Ji Jun's heard Zhao Jingyu's intention and immediately agreed to his request. He heard that Ji Zhozhong was reincarnated and was restless after he came back. He believed that Ji Zhozhong in his previous life would not take action against him, but he did not believe that Ji Zhozhong in his reincarnation would still tolerate him. Hence, he must strike first and eradicate him completely before he becomes stronger. Two people who worked together in collusion plotted for a long time before Zhao Jingyu left the Ji family in a happy mood. "Go back to ask for someone from your father." Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhozhong didn't care at all about the turmoil caused by Zhekongtian continent. They practiced in the secret realm for a month. They are very confident that after this experience, they can directly break through to the peak of the 9th level of the Golden Path. After all, for them, cultivation under the Great Sage can only be achieved by accumulating spiritual power. Experience can also consolidate their cultivation and avoid excessive strength. However, in the secret realm, they cannot break through and advance. After going out and advancing one after another, their location will inevitably be exposed. Therefore, Yan Xianluo directly sent Ji Zhozhong into the Pangu space to break through and advance. She first left the secret realm and then entered to break through and advance. The secret realm can be practiced for up to 1 month. Very few people who come in for the first time can experience it for a month, and some can practice it for a few days or 10. Ji Zhozhong is because his state of mind and strength are high enough, so he can practice for a month after entering for the first time. Time must go out together. It was precisely because of her decision that they escaped the trap set outside the secret realm. As soon as Yan Xianluo left the secret realm, she immediately entered the Pangu space, and no one noticed her coming out. But even though it was just a moment of respite, she also felt the trap set against them outside the secret realm. Yan Xianluo didn't have time to see how many people were outside. As soon as she entered Pangu space, she began to break through and advance. At this time, Ji Zhozhong had broken through to the peak of the 9th level of the Golden Dao, just as they expected. After Ji Zhozhong broke through and advanced, he saw Yuan Xiang was promoted and went to see the Lotus platform. Now Wushuan is sitting on the Lotus platform, and they are practicing on the space stone milk together, as if they are one body. A white soft dumpling on top of a small lotus flower is quite harmonious. As expected of being from the same family, even though they have become independent individuals, they are still very close when we meet again. Ji Zhozhong thought about what Luoluo told him and narrowed his eyes. How will Wushuan and Wubai help them eliminate demons? While he was meditating, Yan Xianluo completed his breakthrough and was also at the 9th level of the Golden Path. Yan Xianluo came to him and said, "There are many people ambushing outside." Ji Zhozhong was not surprised. If they want to guard, then they can guard. We can just go to the abyss to pick up Tuanzi. If possible, we can go directly to the bottom of the abyss to explore. At this time, everyone was focused on looking for them, and no one would go to the abyss. While no one knows that all the abyssal bugs have been eaten by the black dumplings, they can go down and take a look first to see what is under the abyss that can make the underworld abyss have such a protective existence. Any abnormal situation that exists in Zhekongtian continent is not accidental, since there is a reason. In their previous life, they had neither the opportunity nor the time to check these things. Now they have the heavy responsibility of exterminating demons and must visit all the places that may help them gain strength. Yan Xianluo said, "The people ambushing outside have great sage cultivation. How can we avoid them?" Ji Zhozhong smiled, "As long as I'm here, there's no one I can't avoid." He raised his hand and directly carved a mysterious pattern on their bodies. It was a mysterious pattern that Yan Xianluo had never seen before. "What mysterious pattern is this? Is it also from the last 10 li?" Yan Xianluo asked. Ji Zhozhong nodded, "Yes, this mysterious pattern is called Wuying Wutang. It is the last of the 10 mysterious patterns and is stronger than the invisible mysterious pattern. You can understand that it is the sublimation of the invisible mysterious pattern, which is the 9th level of the Great Sage. The cultivators can't even notice us." You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 1006. Chapter 1006 is really different. Yan Xianluo immediately became happy. Can we walk past them without being discovered? Although it is a question, the tone is affirmative. Yan Xianluo admired Ji Zhozhong's profound pattern strength in her heart. Not only was this invisible pattern invisible to the mainland's top cultivation powerhouses, but the most important thing was that they used one mysterious pattern at the same time, which would not affect their ability to see. Other side. Although the previous invisibility mysterious pattern can also achieve this, it cannot be so arrogant in front of the powerful great saint-level expert. So amazing. Zhizhong smiled and said, absolutely no problem. This is the most difficult of the last 10 mysterious patterns in Jiyin, and he only carved it recently. He is naturally very aware of the power of the mysterious patterns he carved himself. Yan Xiongluo immediately pulled him and said, let's go and give it a try. While talking, the two of them came out of Pangu space. They didn't hide their presence either. As expected, the people hiding in the dark didn't notice them. The two of them avoided the various formations they had set up and walked right under their noses. Having already walked a long way, Yan Xiongluo looked back at the secret place. Everyone is besieged here, and it should be more serious down the mountain. Zhizhong said, we can remain invisible for 3 days. No one will find us no matter where we go during these 3 days. Yan Xiongluo stood up on her tiptoes and kissed him the lips. My husband is so amazing. Zhizhong was so distracted by her kiss, especially when she called her husband softly, she felt that her body was softened by her cry. After all, they were married, but since they left Xuanhuan continent, they had no time to be intimate, especially when they arrived in Zhongtian, they were almost never idle for a moment. Their newlywed life was normal only when they were in Xuanhuan continent. However, thinking of their situation at this time, the uneasiness in Zhizhong's heart immediately dissipated. Don't tease me, we don't have time now, Zhizhong said with great resentment. Yan Xiongluo was stunned for a moment and then rolled her eyes to him. It was just a kiss, wasn't it? Zhizhong sighed. Luoluo never knew how strong her temptation was to him, especially after getting married. He reached out to hold her hand and walked directly to the foot of Langtian mountain. Don't you want to see what trap Changkun has laid? Zhizhong changed the subject. Yan Xiongluo shook his head. He doesn't have the strength himself, so he must have joined forces with others. Now is not the time to deal with him, let him live for a few more days. First he betrayed, then he went after her reincarnation to frame her, and he actually captured her soul. And Xuer betrayed him. His contribution should be considerable. One by one, Yuan Xiongluo would settle the accounts with him. Zhizhong smiled and said, I wonder what his expression would be like if he knew he had made a miscalculation. Yan Xiongluo's eyes paused for a moment. He has a strong mentality and can face any difficulties and humiliations. He rarely loses his composure. If he had followed the right path, he would have been a man of great influence. It's a pity. But she felt a little sorry for Xuer in her heart. After all, she had already transformed. Since it was no longer useful to her, Changkun would not show mercy. Zhizhong is very familiar with Changkun. After all, he has been the waiter beside Luoluo since the Wuming Palace was built. Being able to hide it from his eyes shows that Changkun's palace is very deep. Knowing that I made a miscalculation, I am afraid that I will make full use of Xuer's final value. I don't know what Luoluo will do when the time comes. There are also people hiding in the dark at the foot of Langtian mountain. This is to prevent people from outside the secret realm from missing. Yan Xiongluo said mockingly, you really think highly of us? Zhizhong said, this also proves in disguise that we are strong enough. Yu Xiongluo was speechless, and she was so boastful. I'm afraid not many people are willing to prove their strength in this way. Let's go. I wonder if Haituanzi is full, Zhizhong said. He didn't have to worry about whether he had eaten all the abyssal worms. With Black Dumpling's appetite, it would be good if he could eat enough. So he was worried about whether Black Dumpling was full. Yan Xiongluo sensed it and said, Haituanzi is very quiet. He should still be digesting his power. I don't know if there are any abyssal worms left. Let's be careful. Being targeted by abyssal worms is not a pleasant experience. Zhizhong took Yan Xiongluo to the abyss, which is also the abyss of hell. The feeling at this time was different from when they came here a month ago. They clearly felt that all the abyssal worms had disappeared. Yan Xianglou said with emotion, black dumplings are really different. Jishan is a plant that also likes to eat poison, which is unusual enough, but anything bad is a delicacy of black dumplings. Therefore, compared with Haituanzi, Jishan is definitely considered normal. The black dumpling is down there. Yan Xianglou sensed it. Ji Zhong took her hand and flew down from the air. Go down and have a look. Yan Xianglou was also very excited. They had never been there in the previous life, but they had the opportunity to go there in this life. They really have to thank Haituanzi. Not only do I have many spiritual pets in this life, they are also very powerful. The two of them joined hands and descended into the abyss. As they went down, they saw countless medicinal materials with a long history growing on the mountains of the abyss. They were all elixirs, almost all of which were tens of thousands of years old. Similarly, no one dares to come below the abyss. These medicinal materials can grow freely. No monks come, and no spiritual beasts or monsters dare to come. Yan Xianglou was not in a hurry to collect medicinal materials. She had a lot of medicinal materials in her space and they were quite old. However, as an alchemist, she would never remain indifferent after seeing so many medicinal materials tens of thousands of years old. She wanted to collect some of these medicinal materials and put them in her own personal space when she came back. No wonder it's called the abyss. Although the two of them are not fast, they have been falling for such a long time and they haven't reached the bottom yet. Yan Xianglou looked down and could already see a lush green area. I didn't expect that the territory occupied by the abyssal worms would still be so full of vitality. Although you can't see clearly what kind of plant it is, you can tell that there are many types of plants. Yan Xianglou sensed the location of Haituanzi again, and pulled Ji Zhong to fly into the sky where Haituanzi was. As we got closer and closer, we realized that the location where Haituanzi was actually in a cave. The two of them landed at the entrance of the cave and looked at the entrance, which was only big enough for a 3 or 4-year-old child to crawl in. They can't get into such a small hole, right? Yan Xianglou felt the black dumpling again and communicated with it using her spiritual consciousness. Tell Haituanzi that he is outside the cave entrance, but cannot get in. If it can come out and enter the space to digest the power. If it cannot move at will, stay in it and continue to digest the power. When they are done, they will come to the entrance of the cave to wait for it. Haituanzi didn't answer and just struggled to squeeze out from the hole. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 1007. Chapter 1007 Reward Help. Yan Xianglou was speechless as she looked at the black dumplings that were squeezed out of the hole with great effort. It was obviously a round dumpling, but when it came out of the hole, it was squeezed into an oval shape, and it was a very long oval shape. To be precise, it looks like an insect. After all the black dumplings are squeezed out, they return to large round dumplings. It was exactly the same as when Yan Xianglou saw it being held up by strength before. It seems that not only is he full, but he is also full and needs time to digest his strength. Yan Xianglou directly sent Haituanzi into the Pangu space, allowing him to digest the power in his body with confidence. Then he and Ji Zhong looked under the abyss. The two of them fell directly to the bottom of the abyss. Only then did they realize that the various types of plants under the abyss were actually trees more than 10 meters high. These trees were all species that were not found in Zhejiang continent. Had they not read all the books in the Xuanhuan mountain library, they would not have recognized these trees. These trees are plants from ancient times. Yan Xianglou and Ji Zhong looked at each other and had a bold idea in their minds. Could this be an ancient ruins? Yan Xianglou was the first to express her conjecture. Ji Zhong looked into the distance. It's very possible. There are no current types of plants here. If the plants in ancient times had grown for such a long time, how could they be only this size? The two of them walked aimlessly through the woods. Although there were many trees here, There were not many short plants below, and the road was easy to walk. The area under the abyss is very large. The two of them shrank down and walked, but they still didn't cover the entire area. The aura over there is stronger, Zhizhong said to Ruan Xiangluo. Yan Xiangluo also sensed it, and the two of them walked over there. Yan Xiangluo said while walking, "Have you noticed that there are no traces of abyssal insects living down there?" Zhizhong has long discovered that the living environment down here is actually not suitable for the life of abyssal worms, but there are clearly countless abyssal worms in the abyss. Yan Xiangluo asked again, "Could all the abyssal bugs live in the cave where Black Tuanzi came out?" Zhizhong's eyes lit up. If this is the case, then the abyssal worms are indeed meant to protect everything in the abyss. Yan Xiangluo said regretfully, "The black dumplings ate up all the abyssal insects. Did we do something wrong?" It doesn't take much thinking to know that black dumpling will not leave even a single abyssal wandering insect behind. They have all been eaten in other people's nests, and there will still be some left there. Zhizhong shook his head. "It's not that we did anything wrong, it's that abyss waited for the people who redeemed the continent." Yan Xiangluo looked at him puzzled. Zhizhong said, "Why does Luoluo have Black Tuanzi, and why does Luoluo have Pangu space? Why does the task of exterminating demons fall on us? Although I made so many arrangements, they were all successfully realized. Okay, am I really the best?" Zhizhong asked questions one after another, and Yan Xiangluo finally understood what Zhizhong meant. Xingmu looked at the plants in the abyss and then looked up at the medicinal materials on the abyss mountain that were tens of thousands of years old. "You want me to send all the plants and medicinal materials to Pangu space to prevent them from being discovered and then destroyed?" Zhizhong said, "The abyssal insects have all disappeared. Only by doing this can we preserve these ancient plants and medicinal materials. Maybe one day these will be returned to the continent where we live, but now we must protect these medicinal materials and plants." Yan Xiangluo used the power of wood to investigate these plants, and then discovered that they seemed to have only grown for tens of thousands of years. This was because there was no atmosphere from the ancient times here, and these plants and medicinal materials grew extremely slowly. In fact, their years are very long, and the specific time cannot even be estimated. If you send them all into Pangu space, they will definitely grow better. Just like Zhizhong said, one day they will return these to the mainland where they live, so they should take good care of them before going out. After all, she herself always had a feeling that Pangu space would not belong to her forever. The two of them did what they said, and Yuan Xiangluo flew away in the air, and all the plants she passed disappeared before their eyes. This requires a lot of mental power. Fortunately, Yan Xiangluo's mental power is so strong that she doesn't even know the limits. Half an hour later, the entire abyss was completely bare. Not only did all the plants below disappear, but all the plants on the mountain also disappeared. The abyss that was full of life before instantly turned into a lifeless abyss. "Luoluo, look!" Zhizhong pointed at the ground below the abyss and said in shock. Yan Xiangluo first collected the plants at the bottom, and then went to collect the medicinal plants on the mountain. Therefore, the two of them were now suspended in mid-air, looking down at the ground. Just after Yan Xiangluo put away all the plants, a huge circle of light appeared on the ground of the abyss. Taking the diameter of the abyss ground as the diameter, a maximum aperture is formed, and then one aperture extends inwards, and the last aperture is only 1 meter in diameter. There are also complex lines in the two adjacent apertures. "What's this?" Yuan Xiangluo said in shock. Before Zhizhong could reply, their bodies were pulled down by a huge force so fast that they had no time to resist. When the two of them came back to their senses, they were already standing in the smallest circle of light. Yan Xiangluo didn't feel that she was in any danger. She whispered to Zhizhong, "What's going on?" "I didn't feel any danger." Zhizhong said, "This may be a reward for us." Yan Xiangluo was stunned. Could it be that she had collected all the plants and sent them to Pangu space for protection, so she was giving them a reward? But, what is this reward for? Xuanhuan said again, perhaps it is more accurate to say that it is the help given to us. Xianxia was even more puzzled. She really didn't see the purpose of these apertures. How did Xuanhuan figure out that they were rewards and help? Xuanhuan took a step forward and stepped on the first circle of light. Xuanhuan's figure disappeared. But before disappearing, Xuanhuan quickly shouted to Xianxia, Luo, step on the aperture. Xianxia looked at the place where Xuanhuan disappeared and knew that Xuanhuan must have discovered something. She had no doubts about Xuanhuan's words. As soon as he finished his words, she stretched out her foot and stepped on the light circle in front of her without hesitation. Xianxia's figure also disappeared. After a moment, the smallest aperture, the one the two of them stepped on, disappeared, and their figures reappeared. The two looked at each other and smiled, then stepped on the next aperture at the same time. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 1008. Chapter 1008 So strong? As the aperture increases, they take longer and longer. It was dark and bright, bright and dark again, and 9 days passed, and all the halo of light disappeared. At this time, the two began to break through and advance at the same time. They did not expect to break through the cultivation of the great sage at this time, and were not prepared at all. Breaking through the great sage's cultivation level is different from ordinary promotions. Just like when they ascended, they will achieve their goal if they succeed, and they will fall if they fail. Therefore, the two of them dare not neglect it if they are not prepared. Although he has experience in the previous life, the cultivation level of the great sage is, after all, the highest level of cultivation level among Zhongtian monks. To break through this level of cultivation, you need not only enough spiritual energy, but also need to experience the thunder tribulation of 9 heavenly thunders. Therefore, when they break through the great sage's cultivation this time, they cannot enter Pangu space and must be outside, otherwise they will not be able to attract thunder. And the thunder caused by the two men breaking through the great sage's cultivation level at the same time was double, and it was difficult not to attract the attention of the world. Especially if those people are still looking for them. Even if they are under the inaccessible abyss, it will not take long for someone to come. Xuanhuan immediately said to Xianxia, let the clouds and the 4 sacred beasts go out. At this time, there is no need to use them. No one is as powerful as them. No one dares to provoke the 4 major divine beasts and the guardian beasts of the mainland. Xuanhuan immediately released the clouds and the 4 mythical beasts. Yuntuan and the others did not see the two of them when they came out, but because of the contract, they could sense their location. They were shocked to find that they actually wanted to break through the great sage's cultivation. The master has only returned to the 9 heavens for less than 20 days, and he has actually crossed 2 major levels. It is no wonder that their cultivation has soared in recent days and has returned to the peak strength of the divine beasts. It is precisely because the master's cultivation has increased that they have followed suit, and their cultivation has also returned to the peak of the previous life. The clouds were relatively calm and immediately hovered in the middle of the valley. The 4 divine beasts returned to their respective positions, and the protective formation was formed instantly. They move very quickly, after all, the thunder will not wait for them. Perceive the thunderstorm falling into the clouds and quickly avoid the sky directly above, leaving the place where the thunder falls. They only need to protect their master from interference from outsiders. As for the thunder, they have to accept it and survive it. Only by enduring the tribulation of 9 heavenly thunders can one successfully break through to the level of a great sage. The body will also become stronger than ever before. This is also why the great sage's cultivation ability is called a powerful person in the 9th heaven. Other cultivation levels have not experienced the test of thunder at all and are not considered a powerful person. Every continent has a habit of cultivating the top level of the continent into a powerful person, and Zhejiang is no exception. However, only the powerful people in Zhejiang are truly powerful. Just as Yuntuan and the others were ready, Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhizhong were already shrouded in the light of promotion, and the entire abyss was illuminated red by the light of promotion. Ji Zhizhong was promoted first, so his thunder fell first. It was not easy to survive the thunder tribulation. Although he had experienced it once in his previous life, Ji Zhizhong still did not dare to underestimate the thunder that fell. With a loud noise, Ji Zhizhong was hit by the thunder on the ground, and his whole body was blackened. If he hadn't gotten up quickly, he would have been chopped to pieces. Yan Xiangluo was not distracted to see how Ji Zhizhong withstood the thunder disaster, because her thunder also fell. She was no better, charred and black. Both of them were speechless. Why was the first thunder in this life so strong? Yan Xiangluo remembered that in her previous life, she was hacked to death during the third thunderstorm. They couldn't see the two of them in the clouds, but they could sense that they were fine. They felt relieved and counted in their hearts that they had survived the first thunderstorm. The second thunder catastrophe is almost brewing, and Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhizhong are also ready. This time, the two lightning strikes almost fell together. With two bangs, Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhizhong were knocked down again. Not only was it knocked down, but a big pit was created. The two of them lay in the freshly baked pit and watched the third lightning bolt in the sky quickly condense. Hurry up and get up. As soon as you get up, you don't even have time to get out of the pit. The third lightning disaster has already fallen. Yu Xiangluo wanted to curse. God, this thief didn't think they were embarrassed enough. In the previous life, the thunder did not fall so densely and so quickly. They are not even allowed to leave the pit. Are you ready to bury them at any time? But it's useless to have any resentment in my heart, I can only resist quickly. Yuntuan was extremely worried because it had already sensed that its master was injured. He was injured in 2 cases. There were 7 more. Can the master survive? Yuntuan thought about the scene when his master experienced the thunder in his previous life. It was obviously different from this time. The thunder was not so strong. Is it because the master's talent and strength are stronger than in the previous life, so the thunder is also stronger? Yuntuan's eyes were fixed on the third thunder tribulation. At this time, he noticed that there was a thunder falling on the side of the abyss, and the nearby strong men rushed over as quickly as possible. But when the first group of people arrived, they found that the entire abyss was protected by the protection formations of the 4 sacred beasts. They were all shocked. The 4 great beasts, the guardian beasts of the mainland, had not appeared for thousands of years. Now they suddenly appeared and were still protecting the monks to break through to the level of the great saint. They knew without thinking that the people they protected were their masters. But I have never heard of the 4 great beasts recognizing their masters. Even if the strongest person in the mainland sees the 4 great beasts, he must treat them with respect. How can the 4 great beasts recognize as their master a person who has not yet broken through the cultivation level of the great sage? But when they saw 2 sky thunders falling at the same time, they were even more shocked. But every monk knows that the heavenly thunder of the great sage can only strike one at a time. If 2 thunders fall at the same time, there must be 2 people breaking through the great sage's cultivation at the same time. But since when are there so many people who have broken through the great sage's cultivation, why do they rush to break through together? They are more curious, who are the 2 people who can make the 4 great beasts recognize their masters and protect them? I never thought it would be Ji Zhizhong and Yan Xiangluo. After all, no matter how talented they are, they have just broken through the Golden Dao cultivation level. Both of them are now at the 3rd level of the Golden Dao, which is the cultivation level they left Xuanhuan Mountain. Even though they knew that they must have entered a secret realm to practice, no matter how great their gains were, they would not be able to reach the level of a great sage all at once. But they didn't expect that Yan Xiongluo and Ji Zhozhong were not normal people at all. Originally, Yan Xiongluo and Ji Zhozhong were reincarnated and came back with even more powerful talents than their previous lives, which had caused a stir in the entire Zhozongtian continent. Now, two people with the four great beasts' spiritual pets have appeared and want to break through the great sage. Could it be that Zhozongtian is the world going to change? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 1009. Chapter 1009 Collapse of the Abyss. People who got the news kept coming, and they were shocked to know the current situation. At this time, the thunder struck down one after another. They didn't know how many thunder had fallen. Finally someone noticed something was wrong. Have you noticed why you can't feel the breath of abyssal worms here? As soon as this question was asked, everyone realized that the two people who had broken through the cultivation of the great sage were under an abyss. When will anyone be able to descend into the abyss? These two people really know how to choose a place to break through. It was then that they realized that the abyssal worms that they could detect as soon as they approached the abyss had no breath at all. Are there no abyssal insects under the abyss? When did it happen? But they didn't know, and it's no wonder they didn't know. Whoever comes here has nothing to do. If you are targeted by an abyss wanderer, you won't be able to get rid of it. Everyone's hearts are constantly shocked by the waves of accidents, but they can't find the answer. Their eyes fell on the four divine beasts guarding the four sides of the abyss. The cloud is the head of the mythical beasts. It hides its own aura and figure. People who come here can only see the four mythical beasts of Qinglong, White Tiger, Suzaku, and Xuanhuan. They have no idea that Huanglong, the head of the mythical beasts, is also there. If you knew Huanglong was there, you would definitely be even more shocked. At this time, Yan Xiongluo and Ji Zhozhong, who were under the abyss, had already received the seventh thunder tribulation. Ji Zhozhong was doing relatively better, at least he could still get up tremblingly. But Yan Xiongluo had completely collapsed on the ground and couldn't get up. Yan Xiongluo really didn't expect that it would be so difficult to break through the cultivation level of a great saint in this life. This is the rhythm that wants her life. The spiritual power has been exhausted, and there is not much left, which is not enough to resist once, but there are still two thunders to withstand. Each thunderbolt is stronger than the next, so what should I do? Yan Xiongluo glanced at Ji Zhozhong, who was still able to stand up. She felt relieved knowing that he could successfully survive the 9 thunders. At this time, Ji Zhozhong was extremely worried. In the last life, it was not so embarrassing and difficult for the two of them to break through the cultivation of the great sage. However, he also knows very well that the harder it is to break through, the stronger one will be after success. This also shows that their talents and cultivation strength in this life are much stronger than in the previous life. As long as they survive these 9 thunder tribulations, they will be reborn as if they were reborn in practice. He was just worried about Luoluo. She couldn't get up. What should she do if there were still 2 strongest thunders? Yan Xiongluo gave him a look of reassurance, and then gathered the energy in her body. At this time, she already understood why her thunder tribulation was stronger than Ji Zhozhong's, because she not only cultivated spiritual energy, but also cultivated vitality. The biggest function of Yuan Qi is to strengthen the body. At this time, what the sky thunder wants to destroy is her body. If she doesn't use Yuan Qi at this time, when should she use it? Hence, Yan Xiongluo released the vitality in her body without hesitation. Immediately, the 8th thunderbolt also fell. Because she could no longer get up, she could only catch this thunderbolt. Ji Zhozhong immediately looked at Yan Xiongluo after receiving the 8th thunder, and saw that although she was still lying on the ground, her breath was intact. I just felt that she had used her vitality, and I was originally worried about whether it would have any effect. After all, in the eyes of the world, vitality is always not as powerful as spiritual energy. Now it seems that not only does it work, but the effect is also very good. This will definitely increase the confidence of those who have no spiritual roots and cannot practice spiritual energy. They can also be very strong by practicing vitality. The last thunder struck, and both of them knew clearly in their hearts that this was the strongest thunder. If they survived this thunder, they would successfully enter the realm of the great sage. The people standing around the abyss saw the dark clouds in the sky, and they all knew that this was the last thunderstorm. Only the last thunder tribulation will have such a scene, especially those who have great sage cultivation. They have experienced it personally. They all looked down expectantly. They were about to see the outcome. They wanted to know who the two people below were. Two thick thunderbolts struck down from the thick black clouds. This was the first time they had seen such thick thunderbolts. The people standing on the abyss and around them were shocked and quickly hid behind. At such a distance, they all felt that their lives were threatened, and they would be fools if they didn't run away quickly. But they had already gone a long way, and the ground under their feet was still trembling, which showed how powerful these two thunders were. There are many people at the scene who have the cultivation of the great sage. They are all people who have experienced the 9 heavenly thunders, but they are still shocked in their hearts. How powerful are the talents and strength of the two people below to attract such a powerful person? Thunder. They know very well that if such a thunder falls when they break through the great sage cultivation level, they will definitely not be able to withstand it, and they will be wiped out immediately. Xianxia has mobilized all her vitality to protect herself. At the same time, she has also used the power of the 5 spiritual roots and wood systems to fill the body's internal organs, meridians, and 8 meridians with abundant vitality to protect the injured people. The internal organs and meridians. At this moment, the 9th thunderbolt fell. With 2 loud noises, the entire abyss, including the cliffs on both sides, shook violently, and then the cliffs collapsed inwards. Everyone who was hiding far away jumped into the air, just because the ground under their feet had collapsed, and it was still collapsing behind them. They had no way to retreat and had no choice but to rise into the air. Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhozhong had successfully caught the 9th thunderbolt, and the two people who were charred were recovering quickly at this time. Except for the fact that the clothes could not be restored, the body skin, including the hair, all grew back, perfectly without any flaws. All the power consumed in their bodies surged back, and their bodies were filled with the power of the great sage's cultivation, even more powerful than before. Even if others couldn't see them, it was embarrassing for them to be naked like this, so they immediately took out their clothes and put them on. Before the two of them had time to put on their clothes, they saw the surrounding mountains collapsing downwards. The two of them immediately took off in the air, putting on their clothes as they flew upwards. Almost as soon as they left the bottom of the abyss, the collapsed rocks buried the abyss. At this time, the surrounding mountains continued to collapse, and the abyss was shrinking visibly to the naked eye. The people who had already risen in the air did not leave. They wanted to see who the two people who had successfully broken through the great sage's cultivation were. But when we see an abyss that can no longer be called an abyss, we are dumbfounded. What about people? The abyss is like this, and the two of them haven't appeared yet. Could it be that failure was buried underneath? Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhozhong were speechless when they saw countless people. Fortunately, the traceless mysterious patterns on their bodies were only used today, and the period is only 3 days, so they don't have to worry about being discovered. The two of them walked directly past them and left in the air, without those people noticing at all. Everyone was dumbfounded to find that not only did no one come up, but the 4 great beasts also disappeared. They were all deceived. The fragrance falls ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 1010. Chapter 1010 What preparations? Although the Sky Thunder is indeed the strongest in history, the two of them are the ones who can make the four great beasts recognize their masters, but they didn't survive the last Sky Thunder? Are these two people here to make fun of you? After the collapse of the Abyss Mountain completely stopped, everyone went over to look for it. Countless spiritual senses sensed whether there was any breath of living people below. But even people with the level of the great sage could not sense the slightest breath of life. In the end, they determined that these two people really did not survive the last thunder and fell. As for the four major divine beasts, if they are contracted beasts, if their master dies, the four major divine beasts will also revert to the state of cubs. If it is a soul contract, the four mythical beasts will wait for their master to be reincarnated and recognize him again. If it is not a soul contract, then others will have a chance. As long as you can find the cubs of the four great beasts, you can contract with them. This is when the four great beasts are at their weakest, and it is also the best time to contract with the four great beasts. Therefore, there was a wave of search for the cubs of the four sacred beasts in Xianxia continent. Especially the mountains near the abyss were searched countless times. It actually provided a cover for Yanxiangluo and Jizhozhong for a while. However, it is not the most lively time in the mainland right now. After all, the first training place in the mainland has opened, and many powerful geniuses have gone into practice. When that group of people come out, the mainland will definitely be more lively. However, no matter how slow the people who set up traps in various secret realms are, they understand that the abilities of Yanxiangluo and Jizhozhong have exceeded their expectations. They definitely have the ability to avoid them, but they are not sure what this ability is. Heavenly Master? It seems impossible to have such effect and strength. Their previous focus had been on Yanxiangluo and not on Jizhozhong. After all, Yanxiangluo was so well known on the mainland in her previous life. Now after repeated mistakes, they realized that they had ignored Jizhozhong. Jizhozhong was very low-key in his previous life. The biggest attraction in his life was the man he liked, the first heavenly master in the mainland, Yanxiangluo. Only those who knew him well knew his strength and abilities. There are very few people who really understand him. The great powers in Zhejiang began to search for information about Jizhozhong's past life. After this search, they found out that Jizhozhong's attraction to Yanxiangluo was not just because of his good looks and good cultivation talent. Jizhozhong's Xuanhuan strength was so strong that they were shocked. As for the successful sealing of demons 10,000 years ago, although Jizhozhong did not directly participate, he played an absolutely important role. The sacred object that sealed the demon lord was taken from the land of death by him and Yanxiangluo. This is also the reason why they really fell. After all, there is no monk there who can come out alive after entering. As for the process and experience of the two people entering, no one knows, but the ability to retrieve the sacred objects from the place of death has already made the powerful people in Zhejiang fearful. But one thing that made them even more worried was that they could never find out from whom Jizhozhong learned the Xuanhuan technique. There are 6 aristocratic families in the Zhejiang continent that are powerful in the mysterious pattern technique, but none of them are so powerful. Moreover, these 6 families are very sure that their mysterious pattern technique has never been spread to outsiders. It means that only the descendants of one's own family who are talented can learn the family's core Xuanhuan technique. Besides, they think that their own Xuanhuan Kung Fu is not that strong. The Xuanhuan Kung Fu of Zhejiang 10,000 years ago is definitely the Xuanhuan Kung Fu from ancient times. This is something the 6 families are sure of. After these news spread among various forces, the faces of the Ji family and the Zhao family were ugly. Cheng Kun, who was almost unable to hold himself up, realized at this moment that he had pretended to be very good in his previous life and had fooled Yanxiangluo, but he had not seen through Jizhozhong. Jizhozhong is so terrifying. Even though he is so talented and powerful, he still manages to prevent anyone from noticing him. Isn't he going to hide himself in this life? Even though he was shocked in his heart, Chang Kun remained calm on the surface and showed no signs of panic. He thought quickly about what to do. Now he is not the only one whose plan has failed, there is also Meng Hejing, he is the #1 celestial master in the mainland, and he cannot provoke him in terms of status or strength. Is this your plan? Although Meng Hejing's tone was as usual, Chang Kun, who was sensitive, could hear his impatience and anger. Chang Kun saluted, Sage Hejing, calm down. The two of them were very treacherous in their previous lives. They came back with memories in this life, so it is normal to be prepared. Although Xue'er was Yu Xiongluo's spiritual pet in her previous life, after all, she has already after 10,000 years, it is normal for her not to believe that Xue'er is still sincere. I am prepared, and I promise she will show up this time. Meng Hejing glanced at Chang Kun and saw that he looked confident. In addition, he had no better way at this time, so he could only trust Chang Kun again. What preparations? Meng Hejing asked. Chang Kun knew that since Meng Hejing asked, it meant that he had the intention to continue cooperation. Meng Hejing was the strongest partner he could find, and it was also an important factor in whether he could succeed in Yu Xiongluo's scheme. Chang Kun said, Xue'er was her spiritual pet in the previous life. I don't believe that Yan Xiongluo will be indifferent to Xue'er. From what I know about her, she probably doesn't want to involve Xue'er. If Xue'er encounters any hardships because of her, she will you remain indifferent. Meng Hejing immediately understood what Chang Kun meant and raised his eyebrows, are you willing to do it? Although it was just the first time we met, who was Meng Hejing? Although he was a Black Heaven Master, he was also a Heavenly Master. Being able to be brothers with Saint Fenyuan meant that his talent as a Heavenly Master was not low. Naturally, he could see that. White Fox, who only succeeded in transforming, has deep feelings for Chang Kun. Chang Kun raised the corners of his lips indifferently, it's just a beast. Meng Hejing narrowed his eyes and became more wary of Chang Kun. This person has no emotions and is selfish enough to sacrifice anyone. He felt that he was already a ruthless person, but compared with Chang Kun, he was defeated and felt that he was not bad enough. He quietly used the power of the Heavenly Master and saw that the halo of luck above Chang Kun's head was light gray. Meng Hejing was a little puzzled. Although the light gray luck halo was not an excellent luck, it was not a bad luck either. Such a bad person who can survive to this day should benefit from the destiny he was born with. Due to environmental and time constraints, Meng Hejing could not see his fate without disturbing Chang Kun. Therefore, he did not find anything wrong with Chang Kun's luck, otherwise he would not have chosen to continue to cooperate with Chang Kun. Tell me about your plan in detail, Meng Hejing said. Chang Kun told Meng Hejing his plan through voice transmission. Meng Hejing glanced at Chang Kun after hearing this. This man was more vicious than he thought.